But at the end of the day, no matter what the market is doing, it's what happens between our ears that's the most important. Our mindset is the most important. And I'm super excited to be presenting today's session and talking about building your A team. So Arthur, we've almost hit 11:30. I don't want to preempt it, but if anyone wants to share and how they've actually been traveling, or if you've attended any of the previous sessions, what have you implemented, what's worked, what hasn't worked? Because at the end of the day, we can all come to training, but as we know, if we don't implement, well, it's kind of been a good catch up, but we haven't been productive at the end of the day. We need to see a return on investment of our time whenever we attend these sessions. But having said that too, a lot of the times that we attend these sessions, it's really to just reinforce that we're on the right track. It's not necessarily going to be any light bulb moments, although I do believe today there'll be some great light bulb moments occurring. It's a totally different format to what I've done in the past, so I'm super excited about that. And yeah, it's going to be an exciting session. Now, as always, team, and especially those people that are just jumping on now, we want interaction. Interaction, ask questions, make sure that I'm sure if you've got a question that you're thinking about asking, there's probably 100 other people that want to. If you don't want to unmute and then verbalize it, put it in the chat box. And then Arthur will, as our co-host, will coordinate the communication and interrupt the presentation to get someone's question out. I don't want you to leave leaving and dying wondering, I should have asked that question. Okay. So as we know, right on time, we get a few people on board, which is fantastic. Anyone want to share how their marketplace is at the moment?
Great way to start, Manos. Let's open it up.
Yeah, let's open it up.
Numerous
What's the market
marketplaces
doing in your marketplace, especially after last week's announcement that interest rates were not, there was no movement in interest rates. And there was another article that came out, and the NAB has pushed forward their prediction of a rate cut. So they were thinking in March of next year, and they've pushed it forward to February. So it's pointing all in the right direction, obviously from our perspective with mortgages. And again, team, I do believe I think we're going to have a sensational finish to the year and an even better 2025. I think the volume of transactions are going to be 10 to 20% more than what we've experienced in the past, especially this year. And of course, more volume means more opportunities for everyone. So really take advantage of it, really have that mindset that you're going to capitalize. And we've actually seen in the last quarter, there's been some phenomenal results out there in the marketplace. So make it happen. And one of the things people were sort of saying in regards to how do we get buyers, there's been hesitation in buyers, Arthur, from our sales meeting. There's been a bit of hesitation from buyers, but what a perfect opportunity to have that dialogue with buyers. You understand that, you know, you're waiting possibly for more stock to come onto the market, but be aware of the prices that they're at now. They're more than likely going to go up because of the interest rates going down, because buyers' capacity to borrow will increase, and we know that. So awesome. Okay, so we've got a few people on board. Welcome, team, and welcome to session 6 of the Black Salt movement, the virtual sessions. Well, always technical issues when we start. Always technical. Let's go.
While you're doing that, Manos, I just wanted to say a huge welcome to Loretta. I can see you joined us today with Stu. I was speaking to her this morning. Hi, love. Good to see you. And welcome on board.
Fantastic. Welcome to the team, Loretta. And for those people who are new to the Black Salt movement as well, outside of Agents Agency, welcome. If this is your first session, I hope you find it of value. And obviously, if you're a guest today, I hope you find it of value. And of course, it's interactive. As I mentioned earlier, it is an interactive session. And we want everyone to contribute. The more everyone contributes, the more we're going to get out of it. And as I said, but a big shout out to our industry partners team. If we didn't have these supporters, as I've always said, it will be, we couldn't do what we're doing. So a big shout out, and every single one of them have been instrumental in doing something really wonderful for the industry. So yeah, a big thank you to them. Moving forward, as I said, we're up to today's session, which is building the A team. It's session 5, actually. All right. So, and of course, last week we had the first of the business leadership virtual session. The next one is scheduled for November. Okay. Again, team, just as a reminder, and especially for the new people, everyone has access to the Black Salt portal. All these sessions are recorded. They're also summarized, so you can go back. You don't have to sit through the whole 2 hours and review it. If there was something that you really got value from and you wanted to recap on it, go into the portal, click on the session, go into the video, share it with your team. If one of your team members isn't here, share it with your team, and all the workbooks and all the resources from each session are made available. And there's a couple of new ones that we're putting up today in the session. So be aware of it, please. And yeah, okay. And of course, these are the workbooks that we'll be working through today as well. And again, session 5 of 12 today, building the A team. It's probably one of the most exciting sessions for those people who want to grow their business and really get an understanding of what's happening out there in the marketplace and putting the right structures in place. Today's session insights are these. There's 7 that I want to go through. It all starts with your why and why we want to build a team. Most important, get the numbers right. Numbers never lie, and they also help us predict the future. So important. This one's a big one. Are you leadership fit? Are you fit enough do you have the skill set to lead a team? The big one, everyone always asks me, whenever we do any planning sessions or growth sessions with any team member, it's job roles and tasks. What do I get them to do? It's the biggest question, next to how do we pay everyone? And that's obviously our last session, but we'll talk about job roles and tasks, and then how to use the 28-day assistant planner to get you some structure. The perfect candidates, the right people for the right roles. My 1649 rule, having a real understanding of the investment you make in people and how do you get a return, and quantifying that so you can make really calculated decisions in your business. And of course, remuneration and bonus structures. So let's get straight into it. It absolutely starts with your why. Unless there's any questions, Arthur. Anyone's got any questions today?
No Actually, questions yet.
Before I get straight into it, let's just warm up the room. Let's go to the team and find out what is it that someone, I mean, I know I've just listed a few things, but what is it that someone really wants to find out today? What is it is there one pertinent thing that, you know what, I'm just stuck on this, or this is what I found?
Great call. Let's just unmute.
Don't be shy.
Hit the unmute button.
I'm stuck on letting go of tasks to assign.
That's an easy one, Dominic. That is a really, okay, can we ask why are you stuck on letting go of some tasks?
Not that I don't have faith in my assistant, for example. It's just in my head, I feel like I can do it better than anyone else. That's why, and I just go, look, it'll take me 5 minutes, I'll just do it. Yeah.
And can I just say one thing on that it's a very common behavior. It's a bit and trait and thought process. Can I just say, when you conquer this one and you actually uncover that other people can actually do it better than you, it changes the game. Totally changes the game. You'll be pleasantly surprised And that's where people are able to 2x, 3x, 4x their businesses. It really is so often a mindset. Okay, but that's a great one, Dom. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else? Let's go. What do you think? There's one, Arthur?
Does it cost to unmute your button, Manos? Or what's happening here today? Come on, guys. There must be questions out there.
Maybe
Seriously.
maybe it's too.
We
Look,
need we need to seed some, Arthur. We need to seed some.
I think it's a difficult one, and I think when I see people haven't actually had big teams, or they haven't employed people before, or they've only got one person that's working with them, it will be a very difficult question to work out what it is that they don't know and to ask. So I think just going through the points will bring a lot of clarity to everyone. Yeah. I find it always, because we obviously run a quite big, admin team, property management team, got some beautiful girls and boys working for us. It's finding the right position for the right person. Sometimes, they see the ad, they come in, they apply for a job, and then how do you actually, sometimes it doesn't work out, but the person is really fantastic as a person. What other positions would they be in the company that they would suit that particular employee? That's another thing that people, should think about, because it's important.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Finding the right people for the right roles. Aisha, go for it.
I've got a question.
Please.
So my question is, how do you find the time to manage in your week running your own high energy business with, let's say, 20 listings, live listings with high maintenance vendors, training and mentoring your staff, including virtual assistants and people on the ground, and still have time to have your own life, your social life, take care of yourself, go to the gym, go for a walk, and rest? I think that I feel like you have to sacrifice something. You're either all in or you're not. And that's the bit that I struggle with at the moment, is sacrificing my personal me time, because I'm just constantly on from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m.
Yeah, great question. And team, Aisha Ko from #1 McGrath agent here in Victoria. So a very high performing individual agent. So congratulations on everything that you've achieved, Aisha. And what a fantastic question. And when we go through some job roles and who should be in your team, there's one big shift that's happening at the moment, and that is finding the person that's going to be your team leader and a leader of you. Because the most important thing is to focus on your high value work. So when we talk about building a team, one of the big things that agents think is, I've got to manage the 2, 3, 4, 5 people myself. That's the last thing you want to do. One of your best people that you may start with, depending on the size and obviously your capacity and financial position, is to have a team manager, team leader. It doesn't matter about the title, but this person manages everyone else. I've even got a presentation later on, hire a PA for your PA, and your PA manages those people. The most important thing is to understand what you can let go of, and so that you don't get bombarded with the day-to-day stuff of running a successful, effective business unit and real estate practice. Okay, so great question, and I hope we can answer that during the presentation, Aisha. Well, there's going to be lots of ideas and obviously what other people are doing that we'll be sharing. Okay.
Amazing.
Awesome. Okay. Anyone else like to ask a question before we move on? All good? Okay. This is probably one of my favorite sayings. And I say this to myself quite often. Everything falls into place when you truly know what you want. It all starts with your why. And it's a lot of it is outside of your business. It's about your personal DNA. What makes you tick? What fulfills you? Aisha mentioned the work-life balance, understanding how much money you need, understanding how driven you are, understanding how risk averse or risk tolerant you are, understanding how you deal under pressure, really having a self-awareness. And when you have that self-awareness, everything falls into place because you truly end up knowing what you want. And it's not a matter of knowing everything to the nth degree. Sometimes you'll know that you don't know what you want within reason. And I know it sounds like a bit of an oxymoron, but even being comfortable with, you know what, I'm happy with the way things are. My goals are X, Y, Z. They're not big or audacious goals, but I'm really in a happy space. That tells you, you know what you want. Okay. So, and I know, and I encourage everyone, and it's not a plug, but when we do our Live It Up conference, which is scheduled for August of next year at Port Douglas, we have a real focus on truly finding out what you truly want. And we talk about the work-life balance. It's not a real estate conference. It's a health and well-being conference. And it's finding about your goals and reviewing your goals. And, you know, people come to it every single year because it's a great refresh and a recharge and a relaunch for the following year. And we're super excited about that. You're going for the reconnaissance in the next couple of months, Arthur.
Yeah, just got to get the beach bod ready, Manos, then I'll go up.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so everything falls into place when you truly know what you want. And then when it comes to being a real estate agent, what type of real estate agent do you want to be known as? There's some silence in the room. What type of real estate agent do you want to be known as? Stuart, I see you unmute. Oh, no, you're going to say?
Yeah, no, I did. I've just discovered that the way I unmute is by lowering my microphone.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I think an honest one, hardworking, honest one.
A hardworking, honest real estate agent. Absolutely. Yep. What? Any other visuals anyone has or descriptions of themselves? How do you want to be seen? Just give me some adjectives. Hardworking, Stuart said. Professional would be another one. Trustworthy.
Caring.
Caring. So important.
Knowledgeable.
Knowledgeable, Kathy.
Yeah. So people
I was
can.
going to just say the same thing. Caring and knowledgeable are two factors that are up here with me.
I agree, Kathy.
With a lot of the other agents, they don't care. They just want to sell it and move on.
Yep.
Yeah. They want to know that you can. They want to know that you know your stuff. They're safe in your hands.
Yeah.
Safe
Your
in your
clients.
hands. And I know a team uses that exact tagline, safe in our hands. And again, I'm doing a bit of plugging, Arthur. Excited to share with you also that we have secured the great Steve Osborne from Identity Marketing. So a number of people would know Identity Marketing, a really well-respected brand creator in the marketplace from South Australia. We've known Steve for many, many years, and he'll be speaking on day one at the Black Salt Conference. And he'll be talking about agent brand and agent positioning, and whether you've got your own brand or whether you're working within an office, it doesn't matter. But how do you position your personality, your brand? And really, it's one thing to say that safe in your hands, you're caring, you're professional and so forth, but how do you convey that in the marketing piece, in all your messaging, the way you communicate, your language? And I'm super excited to have Steve, and he'll be sharing those exact things. Arthur, were you going to mention something? Or
No, I was exactly what you just said then, mate. That hit the nail on the head, because don't forget, we act on both sides, and sometimes, you know, you got that little bit of confliction in the middle there. So
yes.
How we see ourselves is not often how others see us, and that's the hard part. Very exciting. We've got Steve coming on.
Yeah, it is. We've got some fantastic speakers. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so we have gone through this, but it's just a quick recap. Okay, so quick recap. It is in your workbook on page 20 and 21 of the strategy and action workbook. And for those who don't have it, you can download it from the portal. And it's talking about positioning yourself as an apprentice, tradesperson, or practice, because there are three stages to growth. And I'll just quickly go through it. The apprenticeship stage is usually your first year, first 1 or 2 years, where you're learning the ropes, you're trying to get systemized. Your KPIs is really coachability and belief. You're probably doing, if you actually go out there as an agent, between 12 and 18 sales, if not less. And the whole purpose is to move from that apprenticeship stage over to the tradesperson stage. Now, a caveat: many people actually get stuck in this apprenticeship stage. They get stuck there year after year after year. And I remember Alex Jordan, who spoke at ARIC a few years back, and he's the number one, I believe he's the number one McGrath agent across the country. So, and I remember him saying that for the first, I think, 5-10 years of his real estate career, he was stuck in what you would consider apprenticeship, maybe a little bit of a tradesperson. He was just stuck. He was doing his $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in GCI, but he needed to have a shift, right? And he spoke about that shift. But once he made that shift, his business catapulted. But not only that, and this is what the most exciting thing is when your business does grow, it actually becomes simpler to run, right? And we'll talk about the reasons why you should grow a business. So you go from apprentice, then into tradesperson, where there's two, maybe one more person. You start hiring your first assistant, whether it's full-time, whether it's part-time, and you're considered a tradesperson, but you're still in the thick of it. You're still doing all the mechanics. This is a lot of the time, going back to your question, Aisha, that you're still stuck in not finding that work-life balance, and you're always on the go and that pressure, okay? And a lot of people often move back to the apprenticeship stage because they just can't break through and get to what we call the real estate practice, which is an effective business unit. I like to call it a real estate practice because at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's a one-team model. And I encourage everyone, now, whether you've come today just to look at hiring your first person or actually expanding your team, really encourage everyone to look at your own business as a real estate practice. Even think of it as a solo operator, as a real estate practice, because we've got to think end in mind. And I encourage everyone to get a hold of Joe Dispenza and start to visualize having a team of 2, 3, 4 great people with you and more, and great outsourced services as well. And that picture, so long as you believe it and you meditate on it, as Joe Dispenza does, it will become a reality. And we'll talk about the reticular activating system that will help you get to that stage, okay? So again, go back to your workbook, have a good read of it, have a look at all those stats. I don't want to go in too depth, but we're talking about moving away from the apprentice and hopefully shifting, if you're currently in tradesperson, into the real estate practice. Actually, across in the chat box, just put in where you feel you are at the moment. In the chat box, do you feel you're in apprentice mode, tradesperson, or do you feel that you've got a real estate practice happening, but it needs some tweaking and so forth, or you've just absolutely mastered it? Just put it in the chat box, and then I'll get back to you, Arthur, and see what everyone has been writing. Okay. So why? This is a big one. Why an effective business unit? Why grow a team? And it's simple. An effective business unit or growing a team provides a structured framework that amplifies an agent's capacity to scale their business, improve service delivery, and ultimately achieve sustained growth. And the last bit is the most important: sustained growth. It actually brings some continuity to your business, and because of it, you're just more effective. This is the how. What actually happens when you start growing a team, right? More sales, more GCI, which means more profit. And I do put more profit in inverted commas, because there is the law of diminishing returns. Sometimes you can build your business so much and add so much weight to it that you're actually making less profits. Okay, so you've just got to find that balance and that sweet spot. So there's never a one size fits all. Again, we'll talk about that a little bit later. More freedom, more flexibility, and that's a really big one. More freedom and more flexibility. As we mentioned in the why, improved client service and experience team. That's a huge one. That is huge. Less leakage and missed opportunities. I can't tell you how often I've spoken to team members and they go, far out, I missed out on that because I just didn't have time to get onto that. I just didn't have time to do my client engagement strategy. I just don't have time to do this. I just don't have time to do that. There is less leakage and less missed opportunities. More market share, more leads. Okay, it's a mix of the more sales. You have more boards out there, you'll get more, obviously have more market share, and you'll get more leads. And a big shout out to the Dwyer team in Merimbula. They've been hovering around the 20-25% market share, and they absolutely smashed their own record in the last 3 months, getting 39% market share in their area. Absolutely phenomenal. And their closest competitor fell from being only a few percentage points away down to 17%. So they've more than doubled their closest competitor. And they've just been doing the basics, the absolute basics. There was one big shift, and David won't mind me sharing. We analysed his prospecting activity, and one of his prospecting activities that were missing was the mass mail out to his service area. David, there you go. Good on you. I hope I'm not stealing your limelight. And that would have been a big instrumental shift in his business to get more leads. And of course, all that leveraging, that multiplying effect. But did you want to just share a little bit of that exercise, David?
Sorry, mate, I just jumped on. So not sure of the previous conversation, but
we're just talking about more market share, and obviously how you went from hovering around the 20-25%, always being in the 1, 2, and 3, and those 3 offices fluctuating. You looked at your prospecting and so forth, and then one of the big implementations you've done this year is the direct mail outs and the 4,000 homes delivered by the post office.
Yeah. So the big thing is consistency, Manos, as we've spoken about. We've been doing the with our client engagement we were chatting about yesterday. So our just listeds, just solds. We're very consistent with that, and that is not just ours, but everything that comes on the market with any agency, whether it just listed or just sold. We're prospecting around that. But the big one was we mail out about 4,200 letters every quarter. Costs us, by the time you add the printing and the mail out, it probably costs us somewhere between $1,200 and $1,500. But we've had big growth, a lot of take up on that. People are using the QR codes and going through our website. So the number of appraisals that we've got. So yeah, we have lifted the market share now, where we're sort of, dominating at number 1, not just sort of here or thereabouts, between 1 and 3, like you were saying. But it is that consistency of just listeds, just solds, getting around the marketplace every time a new property that comes on, making sure we cover every property, ours and the opposition's.
Yeah, love it, David. And that's exactly, and that's what, and building your team. And obviously David's got a strong team around him. He's got great support. On your own, you can't do these things that consistently. And that's the magic word, consistently. And when we start talking about building a team, that is one of the major reasons why you do it, is to bring consistency in everything that you do, from your client service experience, and of course, from prospecting and your delivery of service and so forth. Okay, so moving forward, less pressure. It's all up to me. Better performance. Lots of people say it's all up to me, right? And that puts a lot of pressure on your performance. And when you're not focused on your high value work, i.e. in the lounge room, listing presentation, and I am generalizing as a lead agent, but that impacts your business. And then of course you'll have missed opportunities, right? But once you put a team on your performance increases because you just there's a lot of weight that falls off your shoulders as a team. Okay, high value work, specialist focused, as I mentioned. Fee justification. Very often, a lot of people don't put this into the equation. Your fee justification value proposition, it's one thing saying that you're a solo operator, Mrs. Vendor, you get me, and another thing, Mrs. Vendor, you get me exclusively, plus my support team of this person, that person, my buyer's agent, my client care. Now, it's one thing saying it in the lounge room, but trust me, when you build your team to the point where you have a client services manager who takes so much pressure off you to be calling those vendors on your behalf and coordinating the logistics of a campaign, because once you list a property, let's be truthful, it's all process. It's a tick box, and that is so easily taught to a great professional who's articulate, who can talk to your clients and buyers and vendors. That's a value proposition, guys, and people will see the value, right? So understanding that. And this is another big one, accountability and responsibility. There is nothing like putting on a team member to make as a catalyst to get all your ducks in line, as a catalyst to keep you accountable and keep the promises you make to yourself accountable. Like when you say to a team member, I want you to do this, and my job's to make 20 phone calls, you'll be making those 20 phone calls because you won't want to let down that team member. And you've automatically hired an accountability buddy. Okay. So it's a really big one. And of course, it's extremely rewarding and fulfilling. And when it's extremely rewarding and fulfilling, when it's all humming, and I'm not saying it's always humming, right? So there's a caveat there as well, right? Because we're talking about dealing with human beings, and we all know the challenges of, running a business and the people management side of things. And we'll talk about that too. Okay. Anything in the chat box, Arthur?
Yeah, plenty in, Manos. Just very quickly running through it now. Where are we? Andy Thorpe started off by saying he believes he's a mix between an apprentice and a tradesperson. I think Andy mixed up your annual figures, Manos, for monthly figures, because I certainly don't have him as an apprentice, nowhere near that. Aisha Ko, she's written real estate practice and with only one staff member. So that's
great.
That's certainly showing the 7 till 8. I guess 7 a.m. till 8 p.m. time slot she mentioned before. Kathy Cattell, she's saying starting the real estate practice, new staff are starting next week. So she's most excited about that.
Great.
Well done, Kathy. Where are we? Carol Saville, she's in a real estate practice and she's very happy where she is at the moment with her results and especially her why.
Love it. Awesome.
Fantastic.
Thank you for sharing, everyone. Is any more, Arthur, or?
No, I think that'll do us there.
Fantastic. No, really well done. So understanding where you are, always draw a line in the sand. You can't get to where you want to go unless you know where you are to start with. Okay. And we all know that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with your first step. So understand where you start. Okay. Moving forward. So the numbers. So do the numbers work add up? This is an analysis everyone needs to do. Okay. So every service area is a little bit different, right? So we need to understand what capacity does your market have for an EBU, for an effective business unit. And there's some metrics that we need to take into consideration. And I've put down the bottom one of my sayings, volume is vanity, profit is sanity. I remember doing a coaching session many years ago with some directors, and this is before we were doing our essential services model, very early, like probably closer to 18 years ago. And a young agent got his full license, was encouraged to join a franchise group, which is great. He wanted to take the next step, and he shared with me his business plan, and he was spending a bomb on an office that he had to rent and so forth. He goes, I'm going to have 10 staff. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I said, fantastic. I said, how many sales happen in the area? And team, it was less than 100 sales. It was less than 100 sales. It was just.
I remember this, Manos. This is a true story. This is
It's
just.
a true story, and
Yeah.
I've just gone, wow, like you're building a business in a marketplace that doesn't, even if you got 100%, it's not even going to get you close to being profitable. So be careful, understand your marketplace, understand. So these are the metrics, right? And I'm not just talking about people who go out to their business. We're talking about people within businesses as well. So this isn't a one size fits all. EBUs are just as profitable on your own, outside in your own business, and also within a business as well. And there's the win-win aspect of, you know, obviously directors having EBUs in their office, a huge win-win, right? So understand where you're at again, and always go back to your why. So these are some of the key aspects of the numbers that you need to be aware of. Market size and volume. Analyze transaction volumes and market share for potential growth, right? It's really, really important. And of course, your geographical boundaries. There's always a psychological boundary that some sellers will not use a particular agent that's too far away or from a particular marketplace. We know that. You know, it's just like us. There's our Mount Eliza office, right? Our Mount Eliza region, that many of the Mount Eliza residents would not use an agent from Frankston. They'll likely use one from Mornington and obviously the local in Mount Eliza. Very rarely would they use one from Frankston. Well, that's a fair call, isn't it? I mean, with the stats don't lie.
100%.
So you need to understand that, okay? So what is the capacity? Competition. Assess the success of competitors running teams and identify service gaps. And there's that old theory, if there's lots of people doing EBUs, it's likely going to be a successful region to do an EBU. The more, the more. And you've got to think that way, the more, the more. If there's very few people doing it, there's probably a reason, because I always believe that water always finds its level, right? Having said that, there's always the opportunity to do things different and be the first in any marketplace. As I said, service gaps. Price points and commissions. Ensure property prices and commissions are high enough to support a team. We are talking two totally different business models for those agencies that have a marketplace where their average fee is less than $15,000 and sometimes closer to the 10. I actually haven't seen a medium under 10,000. I've seen it 11, 12. And it's a totally different conversation for those that are in marketplaces where the medium commission is over 15,000, especially the 20,000 and above. Okay, there needs to be fat in your average commission to be able, well, depending on that, the actual volume, the average commission is what type of team that you'll be putting on, and also how much you can pay someone. Okay, just because if you're in a low commission area, a high value person, 120, 130, 140,000 GCI is just not a salary is not affordable. There's too many transactions that need to happen just to cover the wage of that high value person. Whereas if you put some part-timers that support some of the real grunt work for you, then that's an affordable way of doing it. Okay, so there's never a one size fits all. And it's an easy way to calculate it because you can just do the maths on it and see how much money you'll make at the end of it based on some logical figures. Client demand. Check if client service expectations require more team support. There are some marketplaces that don't really require team support. And some marketplaces may feel that if you had a big team and you're charging more, that, hey, you're too expensive. Okay, we need to build our business and and build it in a way where we're targeting the right audience. So understand: are we fishing? Are we shopping in Big W, or are we shopping in David Jones? It's two different client types. Does that make sense? All right. So really tailor your business to that. And of course, personal capacity. Consider if you're stretched thin and need a team to grow as well, right? And who are the right people to put on. And I believe that most people who are looking at growth, really, they will get stretched thin, and there's some strategies to make sure that you don't get to that point, right? Okay. The next one, any questions on that before I move on? All good?
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward, mate. I'm
It is.
looking forward to Leadership Fit, Manos, because I want you to speak about bringing people into your chaos.
Yes, absolutely. Are you leadership fit? I often get some agents who say, mate, I just can't find the right assistant, the right employee. I've gone through X, Y, Z. I've gone through so many, and I'm just thinking that sometimes you've got to look in the mirror and look at the common denominator, and that's usually the agent. And this is what this is all about, being leadership fit, right? It does take a real effort. It really is hard work. It's hard work. I'm not going to gloss it over. You're likely to go backwards before you go forward. Expect it. If you don't, if you're one of the lucky ones that doesn't, big tick, right? But be prepared. And, I have a theory, always travel, we all travel in our cars, but we all have spare tires in the car just in case we have a breakdown. So just be prepared, right? Just be prepared. But I guarantee you, team, it's worth it, right? There is nothing more, well, for me, and again, going back to your why, for me, my big why is there's been nothing more rewarding, fulfilling, financially successful for me than building a team, and you can build a team as big or as small as you want. Make sure you know what your why is, and make sure you get the fundamentals right. Okay. Just remember though, it's hard work, but don't give up. Don't give up if that's what you aspire to do. Some of the blockages, and just have an honest conversation with yourself as I list these out. And if there's something that I haven't put up there, make sure you put it in the chat box. Lack of leadership skills. Managing people is different from being a solo agent. Managing people is different to servicing clients. It is very different. Fear of delegation, difficulty in letting go of tasks and losing control. That we already had that from Dominic. Okay. Unclear vision, no clear team goals or structure. If you do not have a clear goals and a clear structure, you're bringing people into your own chaos, as Arthur mentioned, right? Financial concerns, hesitation to invest in team salaries and growth. People see it as an expense rather than an investment. And and the beauty about this session, when I put one of the next slides up in regards to the maths of it, just to get some clarity of what is the actual investment, right? Hesitation to invest in team salaries and growth, hiring issues, bringing in the wrong people or culturally mismatches. See, that saying, there's so much truth in those sayings. Hire slow, move on quickly. Hire slow, move them out quickly if they're not the right person. Right? So understanding who you are trying to target to come onto your team. And of course, the inconsistent systems, lack of streamlined processes for smooth operations, and simple processes. The ones that have the simple processes always are more successful. Don't make it complex. Okay. And of course, time management, struggling to balance team leadership and personal sales. And this is a great question to ask. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? If you're running 100 miles an hour and you're thinking about putting on a team member, straight away your brain's firing. I'm going to do more work. How am I going to cope? How am I going to cope? But you need to break through that mindset. You need to actually make the time. hence why I say sometimes you have to go backwards before you go forward. So be mindful that that's what it might take. So job roles and tasks. Any questions on that previous one? Are you leadership fit? Does anyone want to share some insights of their own? Arthur?
Yep, just go over to David Dwyer. David, you mentioned something in the chat box. Want to just elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, look, when we first started, I thought about it forever before I actually put Hayden on as an assistant to me. And can I afford it? Can I do this? Can I do that? You're not going to get it right. We're all going to mess up in the first time we put them on. But then you just reach out to people that you trust, like through Manos or Tom Panos or other people that I've had discussions with, and you'll get it right. But just keep improving, you know, how you can go about being a better leader. But also, I'm a big believer in never point the finger at anyone else, because there's three fingers pointing back at you. So just find ways to work as a team, and it'll be the best thing that'll happen, because you actually are creating double the time that you've got. So you can get to more open homes, you can get to more inspections, and then it's narrowing down what are the roles that only I can do and what are the roles that my assistants can do. But it's a long journey, and it never stops, but keep improving as a leader and keep building the team. It'll change everything.
Can I say something too?
David. Yeah, please.
Can I say something? I've recently last year and a half put on two juniors. I came from, before real estate, I came from a corporate background, a national sales role. And our role in that, as someone who employed people, what we did there was we poached the best of the people in our industry and brought them to our company, and went on from there. And you didn't really have to train people all that much, because they were already experienced people. So my role here now as a director here of this real estate agent, bringing on people who are juniors, it's a totally different skill set that you need. I thought it would have been easy, but it's not, and you have to retrain yourself as being a leader to try and train these young people who have no experience in the industry. So we've, you know, for the last 12 months for me, we've been in a market that's been declining. I've got a rental business as well that we've started up, that we're now up to 52 properties, and I'm grateful that I've got Tracy managing that. But it's not that easy. So you really have to be prepared before you do any of this with all of the stuff that I've got going, and you really have to understand that you owe it to the people you've brought on board to train them as well. And that's probably something that I've probably neglected. Luckily, I've got agency that have got so much, a lot of tools, but still you have to be that mentor and that person for them, because just like we find it tough and we have those down days when you've got young people who are not experienced in sales, it can be even harder for them, trying to keep them upbeat and keep their mindset right.
Yeah, it's so true. Thank you so much for sharing, Lou, and big congratulations. You've moved from from apprentice. Your journey the last 5 years has been from apprentice to tradesperson, now to a practice. You've gone through those 3 stages, and you've grown as an individual. And do not underestimate the skill set that you get by leading a team. Changes everything. You're moving away from, you know, you're being in an uncomfortable zone, then you're moving into a comfortable zone. That alone, that journey alone, and that skill set, that confidence that you build is absolutely invaluable. It's absolutely invaluable for winning more business, but on a personal level, the satisfaction that you get. And the other thing that I can suggest, it's lonely. It's lonely. Now, whilst, and I know there's a lot of AA members here and outside, a lot of other people have other support networks. It's a lonely journey being a leader. So what I recommend, and something that we did very early in the piece when we got into real estate, and as everyone knows, came into it absolutely kicking and screaming, did not want to be a real estate agent. I didn't like the profession. I wasn't confident in doing what I was doing. Hence, I disliked it until I got really good at it. Then I absolutely love it. And that's a really big shift in your mindset. But what I recommend, just as a really simple strategy, get a hold of 2, 3, 4 other fellow colleagues who are building their EBUs or have an established EBU or office, and get a pizza night happening at least once a month. Just get a pizza get together once a month. That's what we did. And remember this one, Arthur, Maria, and we did it on a weekly basis. And we were very fortunate. The people that, there was about 5 individual agents and families, and our kids were at the same age. So it was pizza night at alternating persons. We may have skipped 1 or 2 weeks, but it was almost religious. On a Friday night, it was pizza night and the chicken and chips. Arthur always used to go for the chicken and chips. And we talked our business in a social environment, not in a training environment. And the learnings that came out of that was absolutely invaluable. So I encourage everyone, buddy up with someone that's already doing what you're doing or hoping to do, because you'll share strategies, the war stories, the punches in the face, the whole lot, and that'll keep you inspired to keep going, okay? Because everyone goes through the same thing. There's no perfect, path, all right? Okay, so job roles and tasks. One of the biggest questions I get, or one of the biggest things that people want to uncover, right? So rule number 1, you need detailed and documented task and job roles. And I mean really detailed, right? Defer the temptation to bring new team members into your world of chaos before your task list job role is documented. You may not get it right in the first instance. Someone want to share something or no? And this one's the biggest one, because I do believe if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? Start here. Start with your job list. And then someone said to me, he goes, oh, but putting it together, and don't you have one ready? That's the best question I always get. Don't you have one ready? And I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to give you a generic one. I'm just going to pass. The next one is a generic one, right? And it's for a lead agent and or a team leader. Now, I've put an asterisk here because I wanted to remind myself of saying this one thing. When we talk about building a real estate practice, and I don't know one directly, but it will happen, where the lead agent is not necessarily the lister, or the one owning the business, the EBU within an office, or obviously outside. There will be a time where a team leader is the client services manager, or the buyer's agent, or the property manager, or the whoever it is. Someone else will own that business or be responsible for that effective business unit outside of the lead agent. And you think to yourself, well, how is that possible? Well, it's happening all the time now in the marketplace, where people are specialist listers. They're great at listing. They don't want to work weekends. They don't want to do buyer work. They don't want to chase after buyers. Half the team probably here doesn't want to do that, right? And all they want to do is give me an appointment. I'll just go and list the property, and that's all I want to do. There are people out there, and there's some people who have got great skill set. They may not have the attention to detail to follow up with paperwork and managing it. They don't want to do that. They just want to list property. Just get me in the door, okay? So there will be people, and I reckon we'll see this over the next 2, 3, 4 years as a shift in real estate. So again, we're generalizing that the lead agent is usually the listing agent, right, as the leader. And this is what his job description kind of looks like, his or hers. Client relationships, build strong connections with sellers and maintain clear communication. Definitely, that's part of his job description, isn't it? Listing presentations, lead listing presentations, manage pricing strategies and handle negotiations. That will be on his job list, to-do list. Strategic decision making, oversee listing strategies, marketing and business growth decisions. Yep, pretty good. Delegation, assign operational tasks to team members, ensuring efficiency and focus on high value activities. Lead generation, focus on prospecting and growing the referral network. You can probably sense my little bit of sarcasm here, right? Marketing oversight, supervise marketing plans for each listing to maximize exposure. Mentorship and performance tracking, train and mentor team members, review KPIs and targets. Okay, team, that's a concise textbook, something you read in a book, right? A strategy of being a great lead agent, listing presenter, but it doesn't go into absolute logistics. Okay, it doesn't. And this is where most people are challenged, is because their lists actually don't have the tasks that is involved. For example, as a lead agent, who's going to prepare the marketing schedule? Who's going to prepare the appraisal pack? Who's going to do the research on the property? Is it the lead agent or is it an assistant? That's what I mean about a detailed list. Does that make sense? Now, there's never a one size fits all, because I know if I was a listing agent out there, I think I would want to do my own research so I know in the marketplace. Whereas I bet you any money if it was Maria, correct me if I'm wrong, babe, right? Maria, who would be a listing agent, she would love it if Joe Morris was her assistant and she was doing all the research for her. And as she's driving to the listing presentation, just tell me a little bit. Does that make sense? So that's what we talk about, creating this list. So in the portal, it's not Black Salt branded, it's actually Agents Agency branded, but we have a booklet called Building the A-Team. So we'll put it in the portal so everyone has access to. I said it was something, it was probably an oversight from me not to have a Black Salt branded, but anyway, grab it. I want everyone to grab it. There are some lists there, but again, they're very, very generic. But I want you to focus on the next thing, right? To get your list right and your activities right. And that is what I call the 28-day assistant planner. Now, the 28-day assistant planner is just this. It quantifies and it gives you total visibility of who you actually need on your team and when. Because when you do this exercise, and I'm not sure if anyone on today's session has actually done this, right? And hand on heart, I've been sharing this with many, many team members for many, many years. It probably sounds like a broken record to those people that see me presenting. Very few people do, but the odd few that have done this, it's changed their business. And I can guarantee you no one has done it for the 28 days, as the title says. And I know it's tedious, but it's one of the most effective analysis of what you need in your business. And you'll get a snapshot really quickly, right? Really quickly. And there's some great tools that you can use to do this, but it does take some time. And again, on your own, you can do it concentrated. You can take 1 month, 2 months. But I encourage everyone to do this process because you'll find some gaps within it. And, you know, and especially if you use some of the tools like a Trello board to actually document it so it's visible and you can move it around. Does everyone know what a Trello board is? Right? I should make note to myself to actually do one and just do a dummy one so everyone can actually see, right? So a Trello board is a digital dashboard of such, and you can actually put some tasks with to-do lists, and it's incredible because you can shift them around to different people in your organization. So I think I might do that as a to-do list for the next session. So 28 assistant planner. So what it is this. So in your workbook, in the Building Your A-Team workbook, there's a few pages. Now, as I've said, no one's done it for 28 days. It'd be great if they did. Most people do it for about 5 days. And what it is simply a chart, and it starts with the day, and you document your daily activity, what you actually did, and go into detail. So, for example, on a Monday morning, you've come in, you've made a vendor call, and there's 3 columns. You can rename them if you wish, but it's 3 columns. One says lead agent, i.e. you, high value assistant, and low skill or outsourced talent. So you don't have names to these people, but you say, okay, this vendor call, yep, 90% of the times I'll be doing it. I could possibly give it to a high value assistant, but this particular call was me. The book photography, well, you can get a low value assistant, a low cost assistant, not low value. Everyone's valuable, but everyone understands my language. Book photography, a low value assistant can do that for you. If you had an appraisal that day, obviously you're the lead agent. You'll be going out there. Letterbox drops, low value or outsourced. Solicitor call, you needed to do it, keep a deal together. Photography shoot, low value assistant. Bank valuation, well, you wanted to make sure you got one of your high value assistants there. The vendor is going to be there, whatever it is. Property write-up, you want your high value assistant who's really good now on ChatGPT to do your copy, etc., etc. You do the same thing on Tuesday, or write out all your activities. But there's also the bottom section that could have been done. Don't we finish a day and we say, far out, it was my client engagement strategy today. It was anniversaries. It's the first week of October, right? It's first week of October. What's our first strategy? What's what our client engagement strategy this week and next week?
Anniversaries.
The anniversary cards and the calls, isn't it? Absolutely. Ring, 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 goes the message bank. Hi, Arthur, it's Manos from eView Real Estate. Can you believe it's been 5 years just since you've been at 118 Bellbird Road? I hope you love it. I hope you and Mary are well, and I hope you're loving it as much as you did when you first bought it. It's probably doubled in value. Give me a call if you're thinking if we can help you with anything. All the very best. Hang up, right? And then obviously that would have been a call from a lead agent, someone who's within your team. It would go something like this. Hi, Arthur, it's John from eView Real Estate. I'm calling on behalf of Maria, who sold you the property 5 years ago. Just to let you know, it's actually your 5-year anniversary this month. We hope you love the property as much as you did when you first purchased it. Maria would love to connect with you sometime soon. If we can help you with anything, please give us a call, and you hang up. What's the next thing that happens? The handwritten anniversary card. Okay. Now, that's one of the prospecting aspects that gets really missed, right? And it's your client engagement, but that could be something that someone could have done. Does that make sense? And it's definitely not a high value person, right? Yourself, you can give it to a third person. If you're not busy, of course, you'll be doing them. Again, it's not a, it depends on your business. So you'll do this for a whole week, do it for 2 weeks, do it for a month, because obviously a month to me is a full cycle of what you need to be doing. Because if you're doing this at the end of the month, you might miss the anniversary cards, or at the end of the month, you might be saying, who's going to do my anniversary calls next week? But anyway, but can you get the gist? When you collate all this information and all these tasks, these become your tasks. You'd start documenting them, and just like I've just obviously just did a little script and dialogue, you can videotape it, you can put it into one of the Trello cards, and it's there and it's permanent. So your the team member that you bring on, you'll have a detailed activity of what they need to do. Go into the CRM. This is how you filter out your anniversaries. You'll do that at the beginning, at the week before the month commences. You'll have it collated, and your phone calls start as soon as we clock over in the month, right? And you want them finished within the first 10 days of the month. depending on how many, or right up to the middle of the month. You can do it at the end of the month too. It doesn't really matter. No one's going to turn around and go, why didn't they call me at the beginning of the month? But you know where I'm getting the gist on, okay? And of course, then all these other activities can form part of your task list and job roles. The other thing is this, the sales campaign timeline. So I want everyone to just go through one campaign and go, if you haven't already done that, and then highlight some of the activities from here that you say, hey, someone else can do it. The whole goal when you do these activities, team, right, is if you were to redo it once you build your team, to have your column empty. I want you to think that big, that you're going to bring on people that can actually do listing presentations for you when you're on holidays. We want to go wide. The profitability of this business, don't think that, oh, that's going to cost me a lot of money. No. It's actually costing you money not thinking that big, right? Because when you have team members that can support you, and the right team members, and we're going to go through the right team members, you start treating this as a real estate practice, as an actual business, and it's not being $1 million agent for the sake of being $1 million agent so you can be on the AREC stage. It's to fulfill your personal why, right? But you get to those sorts of volumes, you're building a business that many businesses, you'll be in the top 1% of profitable businesses in Australia, okay? Get it right. It might take you 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years. It doesn't matter. If you've made the decision, and I hope everyone has, because your whole mindset changes. If you've made the decision to be in this business for the rest of your life, this is what you should be doing. I believe. I truly believe. Start building a team that's going to be with you right to the very end. So the sales campaign timeline, again, is another area where you can find the activities that could possibly be missing from your process. E.g., thank you, but disappointed card, you know. When you lose a listing, right? When you lose a listing, we've all lost a listing. I would much rather have an assistant write out the card, have it delivered, so I can just focus on the positive. Do you know what I mean? Disappointed, humble in defeat, but I have an assistant to do it. All these things, getting the vendor to share their listing on Facebook, right? What a fantastic opportunity to have someone else ring up your vendor and say, hey, we've just got your social media happening. Can you, we've tagged you in it, or find it, tag yourself in it, share it on your social media. Get someone to make those phone calls. So there's all these little things that may possibly be missing in your business, and they all are great ideas. They're all great ideas, but until you actually put a structure in place and actually delegate it to someone, instead of you thinking, I better do that, it's never going to happen. Like the client engagement strategy is an absolute no-brainer, and less than 10%, if not 5% of agents are actually doing it. And how do we know that? How do we know less than 5 to 10% of agents are actually doing the anniversary strategy with a card? Because if every agent was doing it, when you're walking into a lounge room and you're talking to a vendor, the vendor should possibly say, hey, I get about 5 anniversary cards from 5 different agents in my local marketplace. I'm not sure if many people have been going into homes, say, oh, I always get an anniversary card from Ray White, I always get one from, you know, Jackson Kristen, I always get one from here, I always get, like, it's not happening. So the numbers never lie. So moving forward, and again, so go through this whole timeline. We have gone through it before, and see where there's some missing things that you can actually add someone else to do them, right? So the perfect candidates, right people, right role. And this is a really good one. So again, the agent's EBU, it is an incredible profit and lifestyle structure. You get it right with the right people, absolutely incredible. As we've always said, we hire for the role and tasks. Forget about titles. They come later. You're just part of my team. You may be my team manager. I am looking for a team manager. I am looking for a buyer's agent. But at the end of the day, let's focus on the tasks, because the buyer manager might be doing some admin tasks. Because when you're building the team, when you've got them on your Trello board, when you've got them all documented, you say, hey, I need you to do this. I need you to do this. I need you to be doing that aspect of the business, right? It's not a stepping stone to and or for agents' sales careers. I get a lot of pushback on this one. I get a lot of pushback, all right? And I appreciate those that want to do it. What my recommendation is bring young people in, or someone new to the industry who wants to be a standalone, but keep them outside of your EBU. Train them to be a standalone agent straight away. Straight away. The tools are there. The skill set's there. You can be there to support them. Get them to, that's my recommendation. That's what I see the best of the best do. Because the reason I see the best of the best do is their EBU. Remember what I said to you? If you can get your team doing everything and your column is almost blank, except for possibly the pointy end of negotiations and appraisals, it frees up your time to mentor sales agents. It really does. Whereas if you're in an EBU and you're doing 30–40% of the stuff, that's a lot of pressure on your time to be training someone who eventually is going to go out on their own. And especially within your organization, it's easier to train in tasks and specific things to do than it is to train someone who's going to be an end-to-end sales agent. Does that make sense? And if someone wants to aspire to be an individual sales agent, the best ones that I've seen, team, I've seen it. There's, I'm not sure, there's a number of our number of people on these sessions that start real estate and they've written $500,000, $600,000, $800,000 in their first year. It won't be long that we see the first person who just starts totally brand new on their first day becomes a solo agent and they write $1 million because the tools and the systems are there to be able to do that. Right. So the wider you grow your team, the more you can outsource, the more profit and sustainable it will become. I want you to start thinking wide. And I'll talk to you about what I mean by that. It's not putting 100 full-time people in your business. It's putting the right people, and how they're engaged is actually irrelevant. Here's a big one. Be a genuine and generous leader. Invest in your team and they will become an investment for you. It's not a bad line actually, Arthur, is it? Invest in your team and they will become an investment for you, right? And I want you to start thinking long-term that these people are going to be with you till end of days, right? So just have that mindset. Be genuine and please be generous. So who makes up your A team, right? So who are the people that are involved in A team? And I want to get real clarity here because a lot of people just think, oh, it's my buyer's agent, it's my team manager, and everyone else is outside of my team. Start thinking that everyone's part of your team. And I mean your immediate team, your outsource team, your suppliers, your professional services, accountant, solicitor, bank, your human resources partner, your technology platforms, your trainers. Every human that touches and supports your business is part of your A team. And make sure your other team members know that too. And so, for example, if you're outsourcing your telemarketing, they're part of your team. Look at them as your clients, right? Don't look at them as as a service provider. Look at them as your clients and part of your team. It's a different mind shift. And what that helps you do is bring them into your team. And again, your conversations with your third-party suppliers, your conversations with your team change because you're all heading in the one direction and you're sharing your vision and your goals, and they will help you. It's really, really important, okay? So, you know, some of our best partners are our third-party suppliers. They love us, right? And because they love, I mean, and they're fundamental from our technology, from our IT, from everything. So be really aware who makes up your A team. Now, hiring the right people for the right roles at the right time. It's not a matter of if, but when. If you have this mindset, it's not a matter of if, but when. And just make sure that you're hiring ahead of the curve. So what will it take? Now, again, it's not a one size fits all. You need to be financial, but sometimes you need to just go in the deep end. You've got to back yourself too, right? So I don't want anyone to do any crazy things and go and invest and so forth, but money you may not have, build up to it, but be conscious that you need to be hiring ahead of the curve. I want you to visualize your capacity. I want you to visualize the numbers you want to do, and I want you to visualize who you need on the team, and just put person A, give them a name, even though you don't know who they are. Visualize it, put it on a board, right? Because and then they will appear, because we allow the RAS to obviously work for us. So build a team that do not wish to become their own agent and eventually go out on their own. A second time I've mentioned this. Second time, again, I do get pushback, but I want everyone to think like this. Build a team that do not wish to become their own agent and eventually go out on their own. If you had someone right now who'll put their hand up and say, I've got the best buyer's agent, tenacious, follow up, this, that, never wants to be their own agent, who would hire them? Like everyone would, wouldn't they? Never want to go. They want to be part of a team. They love it. They don't want to be a sales agent. They can't handle rejection. I would be that perfect candidate. If I was listing and selling today, I'd be that perfect candidate, because I can't handle rejection. I mean, I can now, but you know what I mean, right? So back in the day, I said, mate, I'd be the buyer, and I was, right? So you will find people that will you know, gravitate to particular roles. You will get that listing agent who doesn't want to work weekends, who doesn't want to deal too much with vendors. Imagine having an EBU that the lister wins the business, and that lets all the vendor management with their team, or part of someone else's team. You know, the client services, the buyer manager, the whole lot. So just think about the possibility, and it is happening, team. It is happening. It's not like we're talking about something that people aren't doing. And again, go wide. Full-time, part-time, casuals, remote assistants, specialist service providers, right? So you need them all in your team, depending on the type of person. Don't think that I need a prospector. I need them full-time. Prospector to me is someone could be doing telemarketing, and that could be outsourced, so long as you're really talking to the telemarketers, right? So I know there's so many out there, but the more effort that you put into your telemarketing and treat them, I want you to think that they're an employee of yours if you're outsourcing telemarketing, as an example. And I want you to think that you're going to put them in your office, give them a phone, and you're going to train them the dialogue of what to say to particular customers. That's how intimate you need to get with your third-party suppliers if you want telemarketing, as an example, right? Now, if you find someone that wants to do telemarketing, that's another question, but you can leverage that. And what I recommend with everyone is I would definitely have a portion of my telemarketing always outsourced. Even if I had 10 team members who are great at telemarketing, well, maybe not 10, but 1 or 2 members. The reason being, if those team members ever left, I have still got my consistency happening, right? And one of the biggest challenges in growing a team is actually getting people to get on the phone consistently and doing cold calls. Why bother? Classic example. What example am I going to share, Maria? Letterbox drops.
Oh my God. We were just talking about this with Arthur yesterday.
Do you want to just share it with the team?
Anthony?
Yeah, well, let's not mention names. I mean, they're no longer, I mean, back 20 years ago.
Like 20 years ago. The kid was like, how old was he then? Early 20s?
Early
21?
20s, yeah.
2021?
Yeah, early 20s. So Anthony was supposed to be our prospector and also letterbox dropper and on the phones and maybe doing some bar inspections, but we started him, you know, doing the letterbox drops and prospecting religiously, would print out everything that we needed to print out in the morning, and then he would disappear for a few hours and then do it again the next day and the next day. And one day, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks in, Manos, I can't remember, to be honest, I was walking past his car, he was parked on the side of the road, if you can imagine it. I just came out of the supermarket, I got some milk for the morning coffee, and I'm walking behind him with his park with his boot open, and the boot was full of letterbox drops. I can't even tell you, like, it was totally full. David, he's smiling. You probably have had a similar situation. If you've been in business for quite some time and you've hired young people, I'm sure everyone's gone through it. And I'm like, you couldn't even put them in the bin. You just left them in your boot.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was...
we outsourced that, still part of our team. And we found great service provider, a fantastic service provider that we once a month saturated our area, and it was done. We also did the same with telemarketing, right? Because no one was doing cold calling, and we actually had some really good lists. So 3 to 4 hours a week, that's what they did. We used to get 3, 4, 5 appraisals, but I don't think there was a month that they were doing telemarketing for us that we didn't actually win a listing back then. Do you know what I mean? It may have changed a little bit now, and there's a little bit more client engagement and nurturing, but that was a process. So we automated our EBU. That was part of our real estate practice. We had telemarketing happening. I wasn't going to do it. That was definitely something I was not going to do. And we also had outsourced mainstream marketing and letterbox drops. And David shared with me yesterday that he uses Australia Post. So it's Australia Post that you use. So the actual obviously the strike rate of getting them in the letterboxes is really high, because it also goes to post office boxes. Is that correct, David? Yeah. So again, go wide: full-time, part-time, casuals, remote assistant, specialist services. So we've just shared 2 examples. Now, team, the benefit of us doing that is consistency, continuity. More importantly, we got to 50% market share within 12 months. I wasn't relying on in-house team members to do it and full-time people. I outsourced it. But the beauty about that too is when my agents came in as we're building the EBU, they didn't have to do letterbox drops. And we'll talk about hiring a PA for your PA, right, later. And outsourcing sometimes is a PA for your PA. So understand, again, you need to chunk down the activities. All right. Moving on, a relentless focus on high value work. Avoid the fatal trap of falling into busy work. Again, this is a big one where a lot of people fall back into the busy work when they hire people and no one can do it as well as I can. And, you know, they just get into it. And that's why they sometimes feel the EBU is not getting them any extra business and they're not doing more volume and all that, because suddenly everyone's doing busy work. So relentless focus on high value work, right? Do not be concerned if you have team members who are coming to work and they've got casual time off, like they've got no work to do. That's a really good thing. It's a really good thing. I want you to keep your eye on the prize, the light at the end of the tunnel. What's the ultimate goal, right? And if you can give people some flexibility and they're not working every single hour to the grind, right? It's really important. That's how you build a really successful. I'm not saying for people to be, 80% of the time not working. I'm just saying give them that flexibility. Don't be, as long as they're doing their high value work, right? Avoid that fatal trap of the busy work. Okay. And then of course, hiring for the task, as always said, not necessarily for the position. Is there the opportunity to outsource? I really start there, right? When you do your tasks lists, see where you can outsource. So yeah, I can outsource that. I can outsource that, and then find the right service provider in the first instance. And the reason I say that, speed of execution, sustainability, continuity, and also expertise. If you're outsourcing a few items, you're actually getting experts already doing it. So it saves you a lot of pressure from training, resources, and it's off your plate, right? And it's done. And again, the best example that I can share is obviously the letterbox drops and the telemarketing, but there's so much more, social media, the whole lot. Okay, hire a PA for your PA. Keep your high-value team members doing high-value work and allow them to delegate low-value tasks and be responsible for those juniors and or new team members. So one of the big things that I'm sharing with a lot of people growing teams is make sure you have a team leader. Whether you call them a team leader or office manager or whatever it is, make sure they're responsible. So when you go wide and you have all these service providers and suddenly your team is looking like 6, 7, 8 people that you got to communicate on a weekly basis, I don't want you to be communicating. If you're the lead agent, I don't want you to be communicating with them. Make sure you give the responsibility to your team leader. Don't take that responsibility to yourself, right? If one of the other team members call in sick, that team leader should be managing that. Does that make sense? Because I want you to think your highest value work, a doctor, if I go back to that slide, a doctor is not going to be working out, oh, the nurse isn't coming in today, I'll better find a new nurse just before he goes into, and he's got 3 operations to do in the day. Someone else is doing that. He's doing his high value. He can't focus on who's going to be in the operating theatre with me, who's there and who isn't. So we've got to start thinking like that, right? And having that mindset. And the most important thing, allowing them to manage other people, right? So one of the things I learned from Matt Church, one of his past conferences, and he's a great mentor and business builder and so forth. And he said, when you become a leader, shift your mindset to becoming an amplifier of other leaders. Who else can be a leader within your team, whether it's small or large? Amplify them as well. And that's the true test of any leader, is amplifying other leaders within your organization. So an example, a team with 100+ sales, right? This is pretty simple and it's across the industry. Full-time, there's usually about 4 people who are full-time in the 100+. There's normally the lead agent, there's normally the client services and the team manager, the buyer's agent, and a team assistant and an overflow. Sometimes a team assistant is a full-time prospector, but everyone does lots of things. Everyone could be doing bits of the prospecting, right? So understand that. And then, of course, part-time or outsourced letterbox droppers, telemarketing teams, OFI hosts. That's a big one now, OFI hosts. I'm not sure. Jared, are you on?
I don't think so.
No. Okay, Jared Carmen, most weekends over winter, although we didn't have the best snow season here in Melbourne, was at the snow because that's what he's done. He's got OFI hosts. So he's built his team. He's writing 1.5 million and he's gone wide and he's got OFI hosts. They're not full-timers. He's found some great people that go to the opens, handle the opens. Does he make phone calls when he's at the snow? Absolutely, right? Absolutely. But as he said, he goes, I'd rather be making calls going up the chairlift than being at the house. I know exactly what's happening. He's got all his notes. He's communicating with his team and he's at the snow, right? So please reach out. And if you're having challenges there, what dialogue you should be saying to your vendors, how do you structure them, how do you pay them and so forth, reach out to JC. He's doing it, right? But I strongly recommend if you want to go wide and you want to be carrying, again, going back to your capacity, you might be carrying 10, 20, well, more than 10, 20, 30, 40 properties, right? I want you to think, how do you manage that? And you need people to help you do that. Your OFI host, social media specialist, database manager, and admin. Start pulling your business apart. That to me is a job list. That to me, the textbook description of what a lead agent does not help you from a logistics point of view. Does that make sense? So I hope that's come through loud and clear. How are we going for time? Oh, doing really well. Finding your A players every day. Is it difficult? Is it easy? I don't know. I think it comes in ebbs and flows. I think it's lots of times it's our mindset. But I think you should always be hiring. I think you always should be hiring. That's my belief, our belief. That's how we've always operated our business. We find a great person, we meet. Have we got a position for them? Let's create a position, and the business grows. So everyday interactions, get conversations started. You've got to let people know that you're hiring. Once you know who you need, once you do your list and you have a detail, I think I need someone to be doing my whatever, preparing my OFI boxes, for example. You might be doing 30 OFIs and you need someone to deliver them. You'll find the right person. So once you know who you need, your RAS, reticular activating system, comes into play. It's that, you heard it from me a million times. If you're thinking about buying a red Mazda X5, that's what you'll see when driving home today, because your mind knows it's important. Recruiting pure. We've never had this, have we, Arthur?
Not this week.
Recruiting a pure is what we call a previously undetected recruitment error. I won't take the acronym as my own. I had the pleasure of spending some time with Bradley Brown from Fletcher's here in Melbourne, and a superhuman, a beautiful human. And he mentioned that at one of his talks, and he goes, look, we're all going to go through it. There's going to be pures, previously undetected recruitment errors. Now, when your team is small, it's not as harmful as when your team grows, okay? And don't procrastinate or live in hope and or willful blindness that they're going to change mode. Act quickly. If they're not right for your team and culture, you need to move them on, okay? But it is all on you too. And something that I know we're still learning to do better is having KPIs for individuals. We have that, we naturally see the best in everyone, and we naturally think they're going to do their tasks and naturally think that it's all going to happen. And it's probably one of our weaknesses that we've identified as leaders over a long period of time, and we're always working to it, but it's part of our DNA. It's not, we don't micromanage, okay? But it is important to understand that if someone is not right for your culture, and we all know what we're talking about, we need to politely and by the right way move them out of our space, because it will hurt you enormously, right? But that's why I mean go wide as well, because I want you to think, just for argument's sake, for the maths, if you had 10 people in your organization and one person left, that's only 10%. If you had 3 people in your organization, one person left, that's 33%. So imagine all the workload, and not only when they leave you, but when they actually go on break and holidays. So understand that. And this is our mantra. I've mentioned it before. We do great work with great people. This is the dialogue we have with all our people when we interview them, when we're having the one-on-ones with them, when we're high-fiving each other. That is great work, right? And that you're a great person too, right? We keep it really simple. So obviously those within AA, you can grab it. Those outside of AA, right, R&D, you're more than welcome to. Okay, going to the finish line now. All right, Arthur, anything else sorry, was there anything else to mention, or no?
No, sorry, mate, just coughed.
No, you're right. The 1649 rule, remuneration and bonus structures. So again, how long is a piece of string? But this is an important one to understand. The rule of 1649. When you consider annual leave, take into account public holidays, entitlements, and the billable hours of work per employee per annum. The billable hours of work per employee per annum equals 1649, because everyone's entitled to 4 weeks holiday pay, 10 days personal leave, public holidays, obviously the weekends and so forth. Most people are working. Well, as employees, that's all they can do, 1649, right? That's what the billable hours is. So what I want everyone to take into consideration, the reason I say 1649 is because we're going to work out how much each individual costs us. what's the investment per hour that we're spending on an individual. It's not to micromanage, and it's not to be a Scrooge or anything on money. It's to get a full understanding and just be patient with him. When we have salary and the add-on extras, right? When we have a salary, we've got to allow 20 to 25%. So when we say someone is earning $100,000, right? If their base salary was $100,000, they're actually going to be costing the company another 20 to 25%, depending on the car allowance, depending on superannuation, depending on this, or depending on all these things. Now, again, not a one-size-fits-all. Superannuation work cover payroll, tax, leave loading, amenities, training, gifts, car allowances, boat allowances, computer, and there may be others. So I want to give you an example of what, and you need to do this with each individual, not so much to work out, you know, if they're fulfilling their duties and so forth, but high value work. Are they doing high value work? So important. So for example, if you employ someone at 75,000 salary, add the 20% just straight off the top to include their super and all those other items I mentioned. It could be plus or minus, but just work on a round figure of 20%. That person's actually going to cost your business $90,000. You divide that by the billable hours, what we call the hours they're allowed to work, 1649, works out to $55 per hour. So every time that person walks into your business and they come to work, that's how much money that investment of that individual is obviously costing the business. Now, we know that not everyone, and this is not no judgment or a dig or anything, we know that most people are running at 70, 80% capacity. We know that. Studies say that. It's very rare that you'll find someone that comes in for a full 8 hours and they're doing a full 8 hours, right? It's very rare. There's interruptions, coffee, you know, team come up. Oh no, we interrupt our team all the time. Do you know what I mean? And we'll always catch up with them and so forth. So understand the cost per hour, and you'll see the reason behind my madness in this. So in actual effect, it's probably $68.23. I want you to have that figure so you understand the type of tasks these people are doing. And of course, if you're going to employ someone at, let's say, 1 or 2 or 3 years experience, the current award is $56,000. Add the 20%, it comes up to about 68%, including the car allowance if they need to be on a car allowance and so forth. So it's about $41 per hour, $51.58 if it's 80% productivity. Does everyone understand that? Just give me a thumbs up. Does that make sense? All right, cool. So some tips once you work this out, and this is the reason I want you to do this exercise, right? Make sure your team members are productive. Your team meetings are productive. I want you to think, if you're having a team meeting, a sales meeting, or a group huddle, and you're taking 2 hours, that's an expensive team huddle, right? It's an expensive team huddle that you're obviously investing in. Reinforce high value work. I want you to reinforce high value work. By doing this exercise, you look at the individual and say, I'm not going to get Sarah to do that aspect. I need her to do that aspect. She's a high value individual. I can't afford. Imagine putting Sarah, who's a high value individual, put it this way. Would you give this person here the role of going to the back of the office and doing letterbox drops and folding and printing Magic 25s and stuff like that? I know I wouldn't, because at $54 an hour, I'd much rather them doing more high value work or finding it and then paying someone external, a printer, because I'm more than likely going to get it cheaper than $54. Does that make sense? So I want you to do this exercise to start analyzing within your business, saying, okay, that's not a great return on investment of that person's time. And we can channel this money that way. And also when you start thinking about telemarketing, I had this discussion with someone, you need a high value person to be doing telemarketing. We know that, right? And they're probably going to be on this sort of salary, right? So really, in effect, it's costing about $68 an hour. So when we talk about these third-party telemarketing obviously businesses, when they're charging $70 or $75, whatever it is, it ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. It's not costing you that much more than actually having an internal person do it, right? So be aware of that. And of course, protecting your commissions, right? I want you to understand that if you do it for yourself as well and do the exercise of what you believe you're worth, and I believe a great lead listing agent, their salary needs to be around the $200,000 to $250,000 if you put it in the context of a business, right? As an average across the marketplace, that should be the salary of a person that's great to generate business, $200,000 to $250,000. Your value is high, right? Like your dollars per hour. So it's a great exercise to do. The next thing, remuneration and bonuses based on break-even targets. And I'm really big on this, right? Understanding your break-even targets, the expenses of your EBU, of hiring team members. And yep, I'm not saying you have to pay out bonuses, but it's always encouraging. We are in the sales business. Everyone talks about it. So understanding how do you formulate what's a fair and reasonable market competitive bonus structure. And again, there's never a one size fits all. I want you to calculate your break-even GCI targets, pay bonuses above those targets, keep the calculation simple and easy to understand. I've given a few examples in the next slide. Now, here's a big one. Your out-of-pocket investment will be between 25 to 48% of the bonus paid. I do have some people who are a little bit reluctant in paying bonuses and stuff like that, or they have that mindset of bonuses, but I want you to start thinking, how much actually is it costing me out of my pocket, my out-of-pocket? So this is a simple calculation. If you're paying someone a bonus of $10,000, right, for a quarter, for a 6 month, for whatever, right, you're paying an employee and you're in a tax bracket of about 35%. And sometimes it can be at 25% if you only leave it in the company. And of course, if you take it out and you're a high income earner, it's at 48%. We know that difference, right? We need to be business savvy here. Your actual out-of-pocket cash is $6,500, because if you kept that $10,000 and didn't pay someone, number one, I'd be challenged to know that you would actually get that extra profit because you wouldn't be able to do the volume. But this is what your out-of-pocket is actually costing you, because the 35% is really the tax you would have paid if you did do the volume all by yourself and stressed and so forth. So it's not as much as we think that we're paying out. Does that make sense? Right? And when I say a bonus of 10,000, including super and all the other allowances within that, just a round figure. So I hope that gives some clarity to some people about bonus, what it actually costs you out of your business. Right? So break-even point. This is the important one. The written GCI required to cover the EBU's fixed and variable expenses, including wages and office agency splits. So as an example, if total expenses reach $4,000 per annum, so the lead agent, a couple of PAs, some drops, whatever it is, and that agent within an office is on a 50-50 split, and I'm doing it because it doesn't matter if you're in an office or your own office, the calculation is just a little bit different, but you're with a 50-50 com split within an office, the break-even GCI is $800,000. It's pretty simple, right? It's pretty simple, right? It's $800,000 is the break-even. So bonus remuneration example is you're paying bonuses on a quarterly basis. Some people pay on a 6 monthly basis. I like to think it's a quarterly. And the reason being is we want to keep our team motivated, and we also want to strive for that dollar for dollar bonus money, as I say, during a 3-month period, right? Sometimes you're not going to make it, as an example. Hopefully every quarter you do, and then everyone's being paid a bonus. And whether you pay it on written sales, settled sales, and so forth is entirely up to everyone. What I like to say, keep it simple. What's the easiest way of actually doing it? So team members, based on their roles, longevity, contribution, etc., can be allocated a percentage bonus over that amount and or smaller percentage of the entire amount. The latter only paid after break even is reached. Now, I know some people have different structures in their EBUs. So for example, if you bring in a lead, you're going to get a bonus of $500. This structure, which is there's no right or wrong. It all depends on how your business is structured, and your team environment, and obviously your marketplace. And sometimes a dollar figure is more motivating to the individual anyway, right? So, and you're getting them to do the activities that are getting rewarded, and what gets measured gets managed. Remembering that. But the reason I say about a percentage is so that everyone's working as the one team. If we're focusing on a one team model, and we're focusing on everyone benefiting from getting to 500,000, 1 million, 1.5, 2, we'll be seeing people do 3, 4, 5 million. Well, they're already doing it, right? In this setup, right? And their profit is really, really high, really, really high. But everyone's benefiting in the percentages. And I say do it over a quarter, so that everyone's getting paid on a regular basis rather than waiting 1 year. It's not that motivating. I'm sure everyone would agree. Okay, so example 1. So in this example, if in any particular quarter, this particular team reached 300,000 in GCI, we're in $100,000 of what we call bonus money. And let's just pretend one team member bonus payable was 5% of the bonus money. So obviously it will be 5% of $100,000. So that individual team member might get $5,000. I'm not saying who should it be. Could be a team manager, could be a buyer's agent. It doesn't matter. Example 2, you could also do this. And I know some of our team do it this way. Again, there's no right or wrong, but so long as you keep it simple, right? And this is a great way too, where they go, okay, it's 300,000 in GCI in a quarter. $300,000 we're in bonus money because we've surpassed the 200,000 in GCI break-even point. So anything above that, that means that quarter qualifies. So this particular business pays a bonus of 2% of the whole $300,000. The whole $300,000. Now, if this business did not reach that 200,000 in that quarter, they would not be paying bonuses because we've got to protect the business. It's got to be cash flow positive and so forth, right? But they pay a bonus on the whole lot. Yeah, there is the difference of $1,000 there, but it's just a different way of calculating it. There's, again, no right or wrong. It's how your business, you want your business to be structured. And of course, the setup you have and whether you're a standalone business or working within an office, right? So aspects to consider. Break-even points must be reviewed every 6 months or as they happen, e.g. an additional team member within a bonus period. You need to have that into consideration. So suddenly, if you're at 200,000 break even and then you add a team member that's going to cost you $10,000 in that period, and you're on a 50-50 split, that break even for that month hits 220. Does that make sense? For that quarter, hits 220. So be mindful of that. Now, a lot of people don't worry about it. They really don't, right? Again, I'm going into a bit of the detail. Both bonus money calculations must take into consideration the GCI split applicable to the office. The higher the agent split, the less, if any, should the office contribute. So I'm going into bat for directors who obviously have got expenses, running a business, overheads, the commitment, the investment that they've made to the business. So we as a principal, I don't think it's fair that the principal, if they already have agents on higher splits, be paying part of the bonus. If they're on lower splits, yep, you can contribute to paying for some of the wage costs as well, which I know some offices do. Again, there's so many different ways to skin a cat, so long as it's fair. And more importantly, clear, understandable, no surprises for either side. As I've mentioned, there is never a one-size-fits-all. Market capacity, average selling fees, direct cost, new and or established agents make a difference. So if you're an established agent and you're getting leads coming in all the time, I would not be putting people on high profit splits, just bonus splits. I just wouldn't, because you've earned that right over 5, 10, 20 years of doing the right thing. You just can't bring someone on. And I have seen it happen where they pay them a high percentage. They've just gone, but that business is really coming through because of your previous history and probably other team members. So just be mindful. Again,
Manos,
go for it.
sorry, I was just going to add just a clear example of this, not using names, but I guess a high-profile agent made $1 million in a year and paid such high splits that, correct me if I'm wrong, there probably wasn't 20% left over until you tweaked it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And what actually ended up happening, the team members were earning more money than the actual lead.
Correct.
Because they did the maths wrong.
They got it wrong.
But
yeah.
By all credit to the agent, he honoured it. He didn't change it midstream.
No.
At the end of the year, he goes, "Okay, guys, transparency. This is what it's like." Da da da. And everyone, obviously, we do great work with great people would see, okay, we've done the calculation. It isn't fair that the business owner is earning less than, someone who hasn't got that same investment and commitment, because it's all about the value that you bring to the business as well, team. So be mindful of that. I'm really big on, like, we do great work with great people. And if we follow that mantra, everyone will know what's fair and what isn't. Not every team player has to be on the same bonus structure, and it's going back to what I mentioned before. So understand your high-valued people should, and rightly so, deserve a higher percentage than someone who is just coming through. Okay, and of course, the EBUN or business needs to be in profit and cash flow profit. I'm really big on that. Sometimes you'll be bringing on team members. If you're starting brand new, you don't put them in profit. You don't put a bonus scale in place and say, hey, your salary is $70,000 all up, whatever it is, right? Just say 50, 60, whatever the base salary is, right? For that individual, there is no bonus money for the first year. We're building our business. Have those conversations. You don't need to be paying bonus money. And of course, if you do something extraordinary, of course, if you be a genuine and generous leader, you will, okay? So don't feel like you have to have bonus structures in place straight away. Just have open and transparent conversations. Be generous with your time. Be generous. One of the best things that leaders can do is when you do have a quiet afternoon, you say, hey, John, Mary, whoever it is, it's quiet. Go spend some time with your partner. Go spend some time with the kids. Go pick up your kids from school, whatever it is. That is a greater reward sometimes than just monetary. It's so important to understand. Okay, last slide. The courage of leadership is giving others the chance to succeed, even though you bear the responsibility for getting things done. It's a great quote by Simon Sinek. I should have had Simon Sinek there as a photo, but a great quote from Simon Sinek. The courage of leadership is giving others the chance to succeed, even though you bear the responsibility for getting things done. And on the last note too, team, is if you haven't employed someone before, that's okay. It starts with you first. And us as business owners, and the many in this training session today, we all start with one. It always does. Do you know what I mean? It very rarely do people start a business and they have 2, 3, 4, 5 employees, especially if it's your first time business. So be generous with yourself with regard, be kind to yourself, right? When you go through this process and start, but I just strongly encourage you, start looking at processes. Doesn't have to be a full-time person, first of all, but start outsourcing all the stuff. I know a lot of the AA members here are outsourcing a lot of their back-end stuff. And when you do all the numbers, you see, okay, that's where the maths comes into it. And just take that pressure away from yourself, right? So I'll finish, I'll get out of the slide. So just remember, team, the next virtual session is in November, Thursday the 7th, incredible buyer work. And I'm hoping to have a couple of our team and external team to actually talk about great buyer work for that session. Again, look at the obviously the program. We've completed obviously this session. The next one, as I said, in November. and again, November for growing your team in a disruptive landscape. So we're just going to, for those directors, we're talking about, okay, what do we have to do to get team members and so forth. Early bird tickets, guys, are out. So please jump on the early bird ticket button. AA members, obviously you've got your codes. Those people outside of Black Salt, outside of AA, get direct tickets as well, but there is an early bird discount to attend. Once again, a big thank you to our sponsors. I will leave you with this and I'll get out of the slides. Many people have big dreams, only the committed have the stamina to see them through. And as I've mentioned in the previous slide, it is hard. I'm not going to say it's easy, but by God, it's worth it. So, all right, let's stop share. And so we can see everyone. Okay, cool. Team, any questions? Anything to wrap up? We finished right on time again. Yeah, I hope, thank you, Andy. I hope you got some value from there. Of course, there's a lot of work to be done for those people who've got to start thinking about the task list. Download that book. George has told me that it's in the Resource Hub. It has been loaded to the Resource Hub. Correct me if I'm wrong, George, if you're on. And make sure you download and start working on your 28-day system planner today. You might as well. Nothing stops you. You know, have it with you after you have a dinner and you're sitting on the couch or something. Just quickly go through it. It doesn't take that long. See what you uncover in your own business. Any questions?
No, I think that was very comprehensive, Manos. It was a great session too, because a lot of people, you know, including myself over the journey, we're a little bit lost in that, like when to put someone on. The reason why I said not to pull someone into your own chaos, because it happened to me. Because, you know, I mean, early on, I was never that organized. And then having someone work with me, I realized very quickly there was two of us very unorganized. So,
yeah,
you know, so it is important. And again,
and what happens as well with that, Arthur, is that you bring them into, and that's why a lot of people aren't successful, right? A lot of people aren't successful in regards to putting people on straight away, is because they've brought them into their chaos. They get really busy. They don't train them properly. And then they're saying they're not doing enough work, or they're not doing great work, or blah blah blah. The responsibility, as David said, when you point the finger, there's three fingers always pointing back at you. So just be mindful of that. Do the plan. Do your task list and your job list and your role list before you actually put someone on. Yeah. So it's really
just
good.
one thing to add there too, Manos, how important it is to work out your break-even point.
Okay.
And a lot of people, if you ask people how you do that, they wouldn't have a clue how to find out. So, you know, I would say reach out to you or someone to explain how to find your break-even point, because, you know, so many people are paying beyond what they can afford.
Yeah, exactly. They actually don't know what their profit is. And more importantly, also understanding with those people that have got company setups, as an employee, obviously your tax is already taken care of. So that headache is taken away from you. But when you're running a business, a proprietary limited licensed entity, mate, the tax planning that goes into it, you've really got to be mindful of it, because you can save, again, the foundation, save yourself so much money. And the difference is huge, right? Just like $500 extra. If you're doing $500 extra per sales transaction, or $1,000 in commissions, and you're doing 100 sales, there's $100,000. That's over and above your break-even point, and that's, you know, that's dollar for dollar, and can be, you know, 20-30% of your profit of the business. So yeah, it's really, really important how you can tweak it. But just getting an understanding of the numbers, David, as you said, break-even point, you need to know. And the whole team needs to know. Cool. Okay. All good?
Good to see everybody.
All done.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Great to see everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who stayed right to the end. Yeah, I hope you got some value. Again, implement, reach out if you need anything. Enjoy the rest of the day. Some great weather here in Melbourne, so it's been really good. and look forward to seeing you at the next session. Thanks, team. Be good.